Welcome to Barbell Business. I'm AJ Roberts, and alongside me, as always, is Mike Bledsoe and Doug Larson. And this week, we have owner of CrossFit Invoke, two-time game athlete, national Olympic lifter, as well as a former NASCAR pit crew, plus author of the new book, The Badass Body Diet, lovely Christmas Abbott.
The back of the book is the best part.
CTP's phone cover. So, Chris, we're talking, a lot of people know you obviously in the community as a CrossFit celebrity, but there's a lot of brains behind the celebrity, and we thought it'd be an interesting show to bring you on and kind of just tell your story. Start from the beginning, how you got involved. How do you go from NASCAR to gym owner to this, wildly popular person that's changing and inspiring millions of people?
Well, I'll tell you, first and foremost, it doesn't go without a shit ton of work and dedication and consistency and being true to what I wanted to put out there. So the first thing that I did was open CrossFit Invoke. Never, I had done a little bit of a gym business to the side, but it was kind of like the traditional CrossFit, open and they will come, right? Shit.
That must have totally worked.
Works for everyone.
Works for everybody.
Are you saying that's what you did? And it worked?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, not at all. But it was pretty cool because I was working as a waitress at a bar, and the company that I worked for was like, hey, they knew that I was really into fitness, and they were like, we want to open a gym in the downtown neighborhood. And I was like, well, that's funny because I want to open a gym in the downtown neighborhood. And I'd been doing my boot camp for a while now, and they asked me for a pro forma. And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. Got that for you. And I had no idea what it was. And so they basically gave me this template, and they were like, fill in all this information, estimate what you're going to make, estimate what you're going to do. And so it forced me into going into analytical mode, research mode, and really analyzing what I was getting into and looking at it from a legitimate picture.
I just made up all the numbers, though.
And you have Doug.
I wasn't there for that.
Yeah.
The first time he did it, he had to use Rob.
I used Rob the first
Which
time.
is probably way better anyway.
And a lot of the numbers were very arbitrary.
It
How much money are you going to make? $1 million total per year.
Year one.
I don't know.
Wait, that doesn't happen at the gym?
But it was really cool. It forced me to do the research, and it forced me to get a realistic perspective on what I was getting into. And then I opened, and really it's just a layer, in fact. You go in with the basic knowledge of some business fundamentals, and knowing, I'm really, really blessed where my business partner for the gym, he's very opposite of me. I come in and I'm like, here's a great idea, let's do it. And he's like, well, let's talk about this, Christmas. And very opposite.
Okay, Dad.
You need that.
I really feel I'm like, why are you trying to kill my dreams, dude? We're going to do it. And he comes at really, really strategy questions, and I have to answer it. And if it's not a good enough answer, then I'm like, well, maybe this isn't such a good idea. So I think, one, partnering with somebody, if you have a partner, or consulting with somebody that has the complete opposite values and perspective that you do. Because eventually...
Do you actually mean opposite values, or you just mean opposite personality type, opposite perspective, opposite skills?
Values, yes, the same, but opposite perspective, kind of going at being your debate partner, essentially. Mm-hmm. Whether they believe in it or not, just going opposite of what you say, mm-hmm. and making you dig into the real reasons and ultimately the details.
They need to ask you the questions that make you stop and go, okay, how am I actually going to do this?
Yeah.
Because we get creatives get amazing ideas, but sometimes we don't stop about, well, how do we get to
amazing?
This? And then someone starts asking the questions, and it starts crumbling the idea, and there you go, okay, maybe I'll just go back to doing what I was doing before.
9 times out of 10, that's probably the case.
So initially, did that opposite complementary partnership cause conflict, or was it mutual respect? You're supposed to do your piece, and I'm not good at that, and I'm supposed to do my piece, and I'm good at this, and now we're this awesome pair? Or was it no, fuck you, my way is the right way. I can't believe we're not getting along right now.
There was a whole lot of everything going on there. Mm-hmm. And initially, this my business partner, we were in it before we even opened the gym. He actually helped me develop the boot camp. And he always, we hit heads a lot, very, very different personalities, but we always have the same end goal. And so we're like, look, we're trying to get to the same place, but you want to go this way, I want to go that way. And really, it's just like, let's find out what works best. And usually what happens is we have a hybrid of both ideas. And, we'll be fighting, but we're fighting for the bigger purpose. And for the ultimate end goal that we have the same vision for.
What comes out of it is a plan that's you can then take forward and move with it, and it works.
So it really didn't thrive until literally like 6 months ago, where we were always having these arguments. And then what calmed it was that we really spelled out, like, you stay in this lane, I stay in that lane. This is your roles and responsibilities and tasks, and this is mine. And really, not just like, hey, you do this and we're good, but clearly identify it and just say, all right, I'm hands off in that area. Like, I have to trust you to execute this in the same, for the vision of what we have together.
Yeah, you can still have a conversation about it, but it's really important to know who gets to make the final call.
Right.
That way it's not like fighting conflict forever. Eventually someone just says, you know what, we all have some great ideas, but we're going this way. Move on to the next thing.
But you have to go into it also like understanding who's going to make the final call. But if you're the person that makes the final call, you have to be willing to listen and enlightening yourself to what their perspective is, and not just be like, all right, I'm going to hear you, but really we're going to do what I'm going to do. And then afterwards you make that decision to go your way, and you're like, man, they had some good shit to say.
You'll learn over time. Like, if you do that, then after a few decisions, you'll learn to learn.
You'll learn to learn.
To learn,
So what roles and responsibilities did you end up landing on and finding, like, this is where I operate at my best?
So because I am like such a creative person, but I'm also neurotic about details, I couldn't do both in the business. I had to pass off the details and I quality check it. But ultimately, he's the one that implements the systems, and we collaborate on what system we want to implement. Like, so we decide together, and then he reaches out to the employees and implements the system, and then he tests it and everything, and then comes back and gives me feedback. And it just works so much better because now I'm traveling even more than ever before, and I still want, like, my gym is my home, it's my heart. And I don't want to sell it. And I know that if we work together, because I promote it and I'm kind of the face of it, that he's the back end and like the Wizard of Oz of it. And now it works really, really well.
Yeah, and you have a lot going on at your gym. I remember last year at the Mastermind, you kind of broke down the way you had structured it so that it was friendly for complete beginners to seasoned CrossFit athletes and people who were into, trying to compete. It was a really interesting model. A lot of gyms have been moving towards more class type stuff. Maybe you could just share kind of like what CrossFit Invoke is, because it's more than just what people think when you hear CrossFit, like a CrossFit box,
Yeah, I wanted it to be a place where people just come and have a fitness party. And that's kind of like my thing, where I'm like, oh, it's adult recess. We have a boot camp, which is the original boot camp that I started, that the money from the boot camp I used to open the gym, starting with $10,000, which is unheard of.
Wow.
Like, cutthroat, like, yeah, it
I
doesn't
did
happen.
mine was
You're
17.
scraping by.
Yeah.
17 grand. I can't imagine doing that now.
I don't even know how I did it.
We didn't have shit.
Oh, we didn't have anything. Well, it wouldn't work now. It only worked because we were the only CrossFit around in our region. So.
Well, yeah, and I was the only one downtown.
We got away with a lot. You probably got away with a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But over the years, you just learn and start slowly implementing other programs. And now I wanted a place where people can come and just love fitness. So one of our members were a yogi instructor. And so we're like, hey, you want to come do yoga once a week and we'll like comp some of your membership? And we put up a formal agreement together. Please do that. And started implementing her. And because she was a CrossFitter, she understood what they needed and she knew the programming. So it just immediately started to evolve. And really, I just want to be able to offer everything in-house and not have anybody else go out of the house. And ultimately, I want them to try new things, but offer everything. And it takes years. I've been open 4.5 years, and we're still expanding. So it's not an all, like, you can't open day one without layering it and thinking that you're going to be able to have all of these programs offered day one.
Because the community drives those programs, like, because they want more, or they're going to other stuff, and it's kind of like, okay, well, people are now into yoga, people are into, this. Why not offer that class here with someone who understands, like you said, understands what CrossFitters need, understands what their purpose is, how they're training, why they're training that way. It makes a difference, and I think you see more gyms adding that stuff in, and we talked about it on the last episode with Brian McKenzie about the doing stuff when people demand it. And versus just doing it right off the bat. And I think if you try to open with everything, your members would walk in. And a lot of times, as people get into CrossFit, a year into CrossFit, that's when the interest starts growing. Like, it almost is an education process, the way they eat, the way they train, then the other stuff, mobility. And the first year, you don't have to do a lot to get really, to make improvements. And then you start going, okay, what's next? And so it's almost like as you grow as a gym, that stuff naturally comes into play.
But what's great about what you said is that the community drives the demand, but you also drive the community. So if you have your core CrossFit or your core fitness regimen in place, then later on you start being like, oh, we're going to offer this, and just let them know how it's going to make them better and educate them, and then they're more interested and invested, and they're going to continue with it versus try it once and then not do it, and then you have a failed program.
Explaining the why. Telling them why this is beneficial. And that works with just like general classes anyway. Explaining the why is going to motivate people to actually do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
There's a good book called The Art of Explanation, and basically what they point out in that book is that most beginners need way more why compared to how. Like, as you get more experience, how becomes way more important, but when you're brand spanking new to something, why is almost the most important thing.
Because you have to have that investment.
Yeah, you got to have a reason to be there. And most beginners, they might have had a friend tell them that it was going to work really well, but then they get there and they don't understand how it's going to work. Like, they don't understand why you're doing front squats, why you're doing strength training at all, or why you're doing Metcons, and why you're timing it, and all these things that we take for granted that we know. The new people have no idea why that's better than what they could do down the street or at a regular gym or in a cycle class or going for a jog. They don't understand all the distinctions. And as an expert, we do, but that's super, super important. And after you've been coaching for a while, it's easy to do it once or twice and then kind of be like, I think they all understand. And forget about it, and then just show them how to do the workout and call it good.
Yeah. But I think it's also really important to keep that user-friendly information. You can get super technical about it, and they're like, I don't even understand what you're talking about. I don't want to come back.
Right. The implication is there. The implication there is why it's important for them from their perspective.
Right.
Like, why should they give a shit? Like, you always should be answering, why should I care, from their perspective.
Exactly.
Like, not just explain all this stupid sciencey detail stuff that only the trainers care about, and you're trying to impress the other trainer with your awesome knowledge.
We're not impressed.
Yeah, the other trainers don't care. They don't care. Yeah, and the clients, they especially don't care. Yeah. They don't give a shit at all.
You start talking to stuff to me where I don't understand, and I just fade away.
Oh, you can always see it in the seminars, right? If you go geeky on them, and some people love to geek out. So you got the one guy who's there, or girl there, just staring at it, and everyone else is kind of taking that nap. And you're like, okay, should have probably not gone so deep on this area. Next time I kind of pull back. And when you get all excited, because that's what we do, that's why we are what we are, because we like to go deep. We just assume everyone's going to love this stuff, and they just look at you just tell me what to do and why I should be doing it. They don't want that deep. Now, if they do, they'll probably go dig themselves. And same with the members, and that's you see that, right? The members, once they're intrigued, they go dig and they go take level 1 and they get more involved as a coach, and then they show us oh, okay, they want to be more involved, and that's when they
they start
spend more
quizzing
time.
you.
Yeah. It's hard to be less specific.
Keep you on your toes.
It's hard to be less specific with new members and to get on their level. But if you are doing front squats and you're trying to explain why to the group, you might be like, okay, we do front squats versus back squats because we're going to have a more vertical torso, and that's going to be good for blah, 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 blah. When you should have just said, it's going to make your butt look good. Cool? All right, here we go. And they're like, all right, it's going to make my butt look good. Here we go. And now they're motivated because they have some understanding of one of the potential benefits, big picture, that front squats could potentially provide for you.
I don't want to make an assumption, but I think of your social media, that's kind of, you've taken that to why. No, the messages you put out there are very simple, but it tells people why they should care. And then you lead by example. I think that I don't know if that was ever your plan with social media to go at it from that angle, but it certainly appears to be that you're just, as a leader in the community, it's this is how you should live and this is what you should do, and people seem to follow you because of that more so than anything else, I would say.
Well, I appreciate that. The intent with social media was pure accident. My friend put me on Instagram and I didn't post anything for a year, and then he came back and he's like, why aren't you posting? And I was like, I don't have anything to post about. He's like, post about your life Christmas. And I was like, well, who wants to see about that? But apparently a few people do.
One or two.
But the important part about this was that I wanted to post things that were valuable and important to me, that I wanted to share. And I found this as a really amazing and powerful tool to inspire and educate and enlighten and lift up people. And so they can see an opportunity for themselves that they may have not seen ever before. One of the coolest things that I got told today, this girl came in and at regionals and she was like, thank you for teaching me how to love my body. And I was like, today is a golden day.
That's
like,
awesome.
how cool is that?
Yeah.
And I've never met this woman. We have never had a conversation. We have never written each other, but it was because of the content of the Instagram. And keep it simple and keep it straightforward. That's my philosophy, and that's what works well for me. But ultimately, like, I want to contribute to a better cause, and not body bash, not bully, and just kind of start pushing those people not away, but like challenging them to think things into a different perspective, and then hopefully they come over to the other side.
It's like you want people to eat healthy and work out because they love their body, not because they hate their body.
Right.
Is that kind of what you mean?
And ultimately, I think that eating, nutrition, fitness, and just good relationships is a byproduct of wanting to make a better decision for yourself, which also can bleed into having a better job or a different job that you just effing love.
Yeah.
And just like moving into a place that you are in love with. It's not just the fitness and nutrition house. It's all of your life and all of the facets that are involved in that. And it's really just waking up and literally saying, I'm going to do something better for me today.
Yeah. So on the back of your book it says, keep it simple, keep it clean, keep it easy.
Yeah.
Is that like a mantra of yours? Why does it say that? It's the only thing it says on the back of your book.
It's like,
He's never noticed it before.
He's like, there's words
like,
on the back of your book?
On the back?
The women are reading it.
Can
The
you
guys.
I try to
find
make
the
it
words
as
on this
big as
page?
possible.
We'll go back to it. Answer Doug's question first, but you did fight for that for the images on the
I
book.
did,
want to
I
get to
did.
that eventually, but let's go back to what Doug asked.
I think that if you keep it simple, then you're going to relate to the masses. There's, it's that specialist that is the 1%. And I'm not appealing to the 1%. I'm appealing to the 80% that just they live like a good day, and it's just the everyday person. What else does it say?
Keep it simple, keep it clean, keep it easy.
So keep it clean. Obviously, I get a little vulgar when I wasn't talking about vocabulary. But keep your life clean. Keep messes. The devil's in the details. And when you hoard things, not only just like in your house or in your life, but like personally.
Like emotionally?
Emotionally. Like for a long time, I was just a really angry girl, and I would, I was like that tough girl that never would cry. And now like I think about something and I'm like, oh my gosh. But ultimately just keeping like your emotional well-being, keeping your spirit clean, and then like that will transcend into the rest of your life too. And it just helps get rid of the clutter, and then it just helps you see things in a different perspective. Keep it easy, right?
Yeah.
Easy. It doesn't have to be harder than what it is. Squat is a squat. Food is food. Driving is driving. Like if you're in traffic and you're like in a traffic jam, like it's cool. Chill, take a step back, see the bigger picture. And that's my other thing is like see the bigger picture. We can get neurotic about details, which I know. And so this is like a big one that I apply to myself. And just take a step back. Is it derailing your fitness? Is it making you miserable in your lifestyle? Is it affecting you negatively in any way? And if so, like reevaluate how how you want to implement this into your life. And ultimately the bigger picture is I want to live a healthy, fulfilling, loving life. And so if that means that I'm not going to do this and I have to cut my losses at something, then that's what I'm going to do. Because ultimately it's going to free me up to be able to do something better.
Yeah. What got you going from you owned a gym and you're in the gym business to doing things that are beyond that? I mean, you still have the gym business, but you're doing other things now. You wrote this book. You've got a membership site. Like what was like the first step towards going, I think I'm going to do something more?
Yeah. It was really organic. So it wasn't like me sitting there and saying, I'm going to do something else. But really, I think what it came down to is it started at the boot camp. before I even opened the gym. The gym was a byproduct of the boot camp. And I just got tired of answering my friends' questions. So I was like, well, let's get together. And then from there, I realized that there was an interest in it, and I loved it. And I was like, man, I'm able to make money off of something that I love. And then they started asking for the gym. After the gym, there was a little bit of the next step was NASCAR. And that was only because I literally got duped into it. I didn't want to try it. I was so angry that I came out and they were like, change some tires. And I was like, you guys are idiots. I'm so mad. And then I walked into
were you mad?
I was mad because I was going to have to change a tire.
So to work.
I didn't want to change a tire.
Why did you show up?
Because they told me that I was...
I'm so confused.
They said that I was going to play NASCAR. They were like, you want to play NASCAR? And I was like, yeah, I want to drive NASCAR. And they didn't tell me.
Okay.
So
You thought you were going to drive,
duped.
not change tires?
Yeah. I got there and they were like, we're going to do this picker challenge. And I'm like, what? So lesson to me, try new things regardless of your opinion on them because you haven't experienced it before. And they put that gun in my hand and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I haven't found something like this since CrossFit that intrigued me as much. So obviously I have to try this. Like, how can I rearrange my life to do this?
Yeah.
And I did it. And ultimately, like, I pretty much relinquished my entire gym to somebody else and just took a huge chance on just, it wasn't going into it for money because I took a big pay cut. I just loved it so much that I figured I had to try it. So I took a very drastic lifestyle change to accommodate it. And it just started to, just roll down. And from there,
I feel like I haven't heard much about that lately. Are you still involved in that in any way, or you put that on the back burner for now while you're launching your book and doing your seminars and traveling so much?
It's such a specialty that if even it's a February to November season, and then you train December and January. So it literally is year round, and the level of skill that these guys have and ladies have, you can't take a weekend off. There's no part-time tire changers. They're all full-time, and they're very, they're committed for years until they retire. So I love it. I miss it. And if I could still do it, I would. But on the flip side of that, I get to travel with my seminars. I got to write a book. I get to do a lot of incredible stuff like this, and I wouldn't be with you guys if I was still doing it.
Yeah. So what got you from the NASCAR to, what was the next step after that?
NASCAR started to create a lot of emails about my nutrition. Just kind of getting a little bit more popular, a little bit more well-known, and I got tired of answering emails. So the next thing I was like, my friend was like, why don't you start a seminar? And I was
I'm just kind of like connecting dots here is like, what may have kind of started getting you where you are now is you jumped out of the fitness scene altogether. And people don't think about NASCAR. They don't think fitness when they think about NASCAR, you were in the scene and they go, oh, this chick is pretty fit. And you're probably one of the smallest on pit crew as well, right?
There were some dudes that were smaller than me, but it's cool.
If you can call them that.
It's cool. But yeah, I was definitely like one of the only female in sprint.
So like you got out of the fitness industry, and that's what potentially sparked like so much interest in you about fitness.
Well, did that show you? Yeah. Did that show you that you could do when you did that and you let go of the gym and you kind of had to let go, like you said, it was all in with the NASCAR. Did that kind of free up space in your mind to be like, oh, I can do these other things? When your friend said to you, hey, maybe you should do a seminar, was it kind of like, oh yeah, I don't have to do the gym. It was like it was obviously organic, but at the same time it was like because you weren't now, fully involved in the gym anymore.
I'm not going to say that process gave me that confidence because I've always been a hard worker. And I know that no matter if all of my fortune's taken away today, I'm going to go and get a job hustling real fast, bussing tables. And my work ethic really drove that. But leaving the fitness industry was pure curiosity and pure just being fascinated with something that I had never been exposed to. And I was like, I have to find out where this goes.
That's really cool because I think a lot of times we're telling people like, if you don't like your job, just you'll find something else. And even though you love your job, you found a new love, and it was like, you know what, I'm gonna take a risk, and I'm gonna see where this goes. And I think just that in itself was where most people they wouldn't even consider it, even if it's to get into the fitness industry, leaving a corporate job, or doing the reverse. You kind of went out, you came back in, but a lot of people, like, they think that, okay, if they had a successful business, if they had a successful gym, like, would they just take a jump for something else and risk it? And you're like, no, I had this curiosity. I loved it when I tried it, and I wanted to go play full on.
Yeah, but I didn't even want to do it
at first.
You know, yeah. I was like, get out. You know, I don't want to change your tire. So the willingness to try something new, just that pure willingness, because I could have said no, and I could have gone home and missed the entire opportunity. But being adamant about, like, okay, I'm going to try this. I don't know what my opinion's going to be, but I'm going to have the experience to be able to have the educated opinion. And not just being like, oh, I'm going to create this in my head. You meet people, and women are notorious for this. I know that I can't. Well, have you tried? No. Then you don't know because it's possible.
Yeah. You're probably going to fire up a lot of women listeners, the three that we have. Yeah. Hopefully we get some more. Let's talk about the book, because I'm always curious. Like, writing a book is no easy task, and to get a publisher is no easy task, and then to be able to fight for what you want in the book is no easy task. And you've gone through a lot to get this out. I'd love to just dig into, what was the inspiration for it, what, and then how long it took, and how you got. Because I know there's probably people listening being like, I'd like to write a book someday. So I think it'd be great to go through the process as well as the reasons behind the book.
Yeah.
That was a very fuck, that's a big project. Oh my God.
Exactly.
We have time to talk about this?
This one was actually a pretty aggressive. It was a year turnaround, and that was only because I already had all of the content. And if you are
from your seminar?
From my seminar. And I've been doing my seminar for a year at that point. Now it's been, I don't know how long. And it was like literally the only reason I agreed to the deadline is because I knew that I had the content. And I coupled up with Maggie Green, who she has a doctorate in nutrition, and I just wanted that professional input. And ultimately, if somebody's writing a book, then you're passionate about something to a pretty intense level. So from there,
I would never consider writing a book about something that I wasn't just crazy about.
You'd be crazy. You'd be surprised at how many people are just like, I want to write to be published. Because it's like to have a book in your hands.
You've never heard of them.
They just think it's like an easy way to get famous.
Maybe they just like to write or something.
You've never heard of them. That's why you look lost. Who are these people? Like,
they didn't make it.
It's like the vast majority of books that don't make it.
Yes. Yeah. And, walking into, well, I'll get back there. When I teamed up with an agent that specifically in the publishing community, and I was like, I'm out of my league. Like, why do you want this information from me? But ultimately, like, just building your team, which is whether it's in business, life, or personal wise, building your team is really important. So I had this really great agent, and he worked all of his connections and got me in touch with some really great publishing houses, which the big publishing houses doesn't have to always be your option. Mm-hmm. You can self-publish, or you can get some of the smaller publishing houses, but they have to be in line with what you believe. And then it was just like cranking out so many edits.
What made you want to go with a publisher versus self-publishing? It's a big conversation in a lot of the business things when people are looking at a book. It's like, well, now I can self-publish. I have my own audience. I could launch to my audience. Like, why did you want to write a traditional book versus just say, I'll just do it myself?
I thought about self-publishing some other things beforehand that were like more smaller kind of like handbooks. And then when I teamed up with my PR, not my PR, but my book agent, he was like, we could go that route, but then he listed all of the really obstacles, and he was like, if we go with a publishing house, they're going to take on those obstacles for you, and you have a much larger opportunity for success immediately. And so
it's pretty much like partnering. Like the publishing house is like that partner you talked about earlier, having someone else there, and that's what they provided. So it was looking at that saying, okay, these are my strengths, these are their strengths. It's better to go together versus trying to figure all that stuff out myself.
Right, and you do lose a lot of the ultimate revenue partnering with a bigger publishing house than self-publishing, but that was the risk that I was willing to take. because I really didn't want to have to deal with all of those other items because I had so much on my plate already.
And it's a long-term game, right? This is a legacy piece. It's not just something to make a quick buck off.
Boom! I'm gonna take that one.
She's like, yeah, I thought of that.
Just make sure you quote Doug.
Doug.
That's right.
All original ideas.
We had a good joke at the Mastermind where every quote the whole weekend was attributed to me, and every time I was like, did I say that? And AJ's like, I said that. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking take it anyway.
We keep mentioning we mentioned the Mastermind when we were doing the show with BMAC, and people are probably wondering well, what happened to the Mastermind? But I'll let you talk about it. I want to ask, what did you think about the Mastermind overall, and yeah.
It's your second or third Mastermind.
Second. So I actually attended the first original one last year. Which so my perspective going into that one, which I think that more people will understand, is that I thought I was just coming to hang out with some really cool dudes that I love, and then we were gonna
happen at all.
Should fuck these guys.
And we were going to kind of hash out some cool business concepts and say, what works well here may not work well there, and really just kind of okay, what can I do to help my gym? And I walked away just I had 5 scoops of pre-workout when I walked away from it. It was dangerously energized, and to the point where I remember you guys telling me that if you implemented 1 or 2 even throughout a year, you would see a significant change in your business format. And I immediately implemented, I think, 3. And then over the year, I implemented 2 or 3 more. And the trajectory.
There's a lesson in itself, speed of implementation.
Yeah. That's what
you were texting, we got to do this thing before you left.
Yeah. I had things in place and momentum going before I left that. And I think I was only able to attend 1 day.
You didn't even come the whole time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really the Mastermind, what I see is that you guys have taken some really high level people in the industry and even outside the industry, and they not just a good business owner, but somebody that has good intentions, and they want to elevate the community and expand it to where we're just doing good things all the time, and letting that butterfly effect take over. But ultimately there, you have experts coming in and sharing their experiences, and we have these groups that we sit down and say, hey, look, this is my problem. So you're really exposing yourself in a vulnerable way and saying, this is my problem, what do I do? And then you have 5 other people giving you a different new perspective and how to fix the problem, but then on top of that, make everything else better. I mean, I don't know if I can explain it any more than that, other than it was just an incredible week. I filled my whole notebook full of notes of crazy things that I need to implement, and I just can't wait to do it again. Last year versus this year, complete different stratosphere altogether.
Yeah.
This year I loved being in the house together because it really fused us together on a different level personally, and so we're all personally invested in each other's business and our lives now.
What I was fascinated with was I knew you were, because you launched the book, I knew you were out doing book signings, but you were in 4 or 5 cities leading up to the Mastermind. It was the first time you really got to stop in terms of traveling, but you didn't even stop because now we're pulling you over here to focus on the business. But for those that obviously weren't at the Mastermind, thinking how important is it to take time to stop and focus on the business versus be you're going all the time? And do you get the opportunities to think about the business, or is this one of those times where it's okay, those 3 days set you up for a majority of the future moving forward?
When you surround yourself with such incredible people and such bigger thinker people, then it feels like that's the only time in the year that you get to focus on your business. And I'm going to advocate what you guys have advocated, that in order to grow your business, remove yourself for a while, surround yourself with people that are not like-minded but bigger thinkers, and then come back and implement it to the business. It's very short-sighted if you're in the office thinking about what you need to do. Step outside, get a different perspective, and then come back in. So I get to do that occasionally throughout the year because I get to see some people that think similarly. But really, this is the golden nugget for the next year. And I'm so excited to be part of it because I can't even attest to how influential it has been on my business.
So what's coming for Christmas, Abbott? Now you got all these ideas. We gotta let the people know.
A lot of web-based stuff. So I'm gonna be putting out some more Q&As on the book. So continuing education for the diet regimen, some more online seminar options. And I'm launching a clothing line that's nice. Like embryo right now. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like I read it all down, but ultimately it's one at a time and at the same time all at once.
So you see your team expanding even more?
Yeah, I just brought on somebody to spearhead the athletic clothing line, and then just really building my team and trusting that they can handle that responsibility, and watching them and making sure that they're doing right, but trusting in the systems that I implement, and then just always improving it and maintaining it.
Yeah, cool. Oh, I think.
Oh yeah,
guys. Are we doing a show?
No. So. Gym owners obviously should buy a book for every member. So where should they go
That's a great idea.
The books or bring you in for a seminar? Like where should this is for gym owners, so they need to buy tons of these things.
Yeah.
So what's the best way they can do that?
You can go to Amazon.com or Barnes and Nobles, but you can also. I'm going to be launching an autographed version that is exclusively on fitmood.com. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty cool platform. And you'll only be able to get, unless you bring it to me personally, you'll only be able to get an autographed copy through fitmood.com after this.
By the way, I got an autographed copy.
You got a personalized copy.
I might frame it.
He's totally going to sell it on eBay. He'll sign it too.
Oh,
I wonder how much that's worth. Well, maybe we'll find out.
Well, actually, I got two questions
sure.
for you. So is this, just to clarify, is this for men, women, or both?
So the book is written geared towards women because I feel very passionate about teaching them how to empower themselves. Mm-hmm. But the diet regimen itself is non-gender specific. Mm-hmm. So as long as you learn the fundamentals and understand like the scale of quality foods, then anybody can do it. And it's a way of eating. It's not diet regimen. You should never ever be hungry. If you're hungry and you're starvation, then you're in starvation mood. Look, I get so excited I can't even talk. Like I'm talking over myself. And that's one of my big things is just keep it simple. Never be hungry and embrace the process.
Mm-hmm. You actually didn't want the word diet on the book, and it was one of those conversations where you needed people to know what the book was about, but at the same time it was everything. And you actually have, I think, a chapter in there that explains why you don't like the word diet and why that it's like not really a part of a lifestyle.
I'd imagine the publisher knows if you put diet on the front of it, they're just going to sell more copies. Yeah. So they probably pushed you on that one.
Yeah, there was two major things that I fought over is the word diet, and I was like, I want it to be the Badass Body book, and they were like, they don't know that it's about nutrition. And I was like, well, I don't really want to use the word diet because I don't feel like that's something that I just promote.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle.
But it's an education word. So by seeing the word diet, somebody that wouldn't have picked it up any other way, then they're going to read about it, they're going to be educated, and then they're going to be able to see it differently. Yeah. And then half the battle's won. Yeah.
Well, there's a big lesson in that for naming things for businesses. A lot of people, we see it now, they come in up with all these crazy names for companies, and you look at it and you're like, if you don't know what it is right away, you're only going to capture the market you've already captured, right? And what good is that? I mean, of course you can change those people, but you want to go out, and you want to reach the people that might not have picked up that had it not had that word on.
Or pull in a market that you don't want to pull in. Yeah. Like wording's important.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, last question. Where can we find your online seminar, the recording of your seminar?
I have the nutrition seminar recorded on my website, christmasabbott.com. And, there I'll start feeding the continuing education for the book and see all the other
I'm guessing you have an opt-in where people can get on your list and watch what you're doing. And
yeah, I'm implementing that with I just hired a really great IT guy. Thank you.
So by the time this comes out, you'll have an opt-in.
Yes.
And so I would recommend getting on Christmas list, even if you don't want to purchase her stuff, which you should, but even if you don't, just to follow what she's doing, to see what she's doing in the business world, there's a lot of lessons you can learn from just, watching that and seeing how she runs her business from the gym to the membership sites, the books, the seminars. There's a lot of lessons there. Where's your social media? Is it just Christmas Abbott everywhere? You got the blue star?
If you can't stalk me, then you are not on social media. Like, it's so easy. Christmas Abbott. not so bad.
Inside
that
joke.
Was not what I wanted to. So we discovered a way to promote dick confidence during the Mastermind. And if you feel that you have a way to encourage dick confidence, maybe in a PG way, then hashtag dick confidence. And we want to hear your
I feel like there's Pandora's box. Pandora's box.
No. Christmas, anything inappropriate, you will screenshot and you will repost with exactly who it's from.
Oh, yeah.
So
It was actually, we were sitting in a group one night at the Mastermind, and Michael Cazu, he goes, I left last year and I had a dick full of confidence. And everyone was like, what is that? And he goes, that's a thing, right? Everyone was like, no, it's not.
But we wrote it down on the sheet. Dick confidence.
So we hung out in the hot tub for like 4 hours that night and talked about dick confidence the whole time.
That's a key part of the Mastermind. The hot tub meetings, that's where all the real work gets done.
There were so many things. We'd have like this structured group, and then it was like, as soon as a tangent would trail off, we're like, all right, guys, all right, let's bring it back in. Save that for the hot tub tonight. And that was like, and it always got covered that night amongst many jokes.
But nobody had their paper and pad. No,
I think everyone probably remembered everything that happened.
Absolutely.
Karaoke.
It just got weird.
All right. Make sure you get over to Christmas's site, get on the social media, follow her. Of course, head over to barbellbusiness.com, opt in for the newsletter, give us a 5-star review on iTunes, and if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment below, subscribe, let us know what's up, let us know who you want to see in the future, and we'll be back soon.
Join the conversation every week after the episode over at barbellshrugged.com. This is also where you'll find new episodes of Barbell Shrugged, Technique Wad, Nuggets and Pearls, Barbell Business, Get Change, plus new articles every day on our daily blog, written by us, guests of the show, and some of the biggest names in strength and conditioning. So, go there and leave a comment now. Oh my gosh, wow, that's so cool. Yay, that's so awesome.
Did you like this video? If so, subscribe to our channel and share this with your friends.
And if you want even more free, awesome resources to help you reach your fitness goals, plus some updates that we only share over email, head over to barbellshrugged.com and sign up for the newsletter.